It's kind of wild when you think about it. In what feels like the blink of an eye, ChatGPT went from this cool new thing, a box where you type questions, to something much, much bigger. We're talking about the new command center for our digital lives. And this shift is changing how we use technology itself. We're going to break down exactly how this happened. So, how did we get here? How did a conversational AI, a simple chatbot, manage to become the next huge software platform? I mean, it's aiming to completely change the way we interact with apps. That's the core question, and that's exactly what we're going to dig into. All right, so before we jump into the whole App Store revolution, we really need to get our heads around the basics. What is this technology we're all suddenly using? What's the engine under the hood? Well, the magic is right there in the name, GPT. It stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. The easiest way to think about it is like a super intelligent pattern spotter. It's been pre-trained on a truly staggering amount of text and code from the internet. Because of that, it's learned the patterns of human language, which lets it understand what you're asking and generate incredibly human-like answers. And all that training gives it some seriously impressive skills. It can help us write, it can debug code, it can summarize dense documents, you name it. But, and you knew there was a but, right? It is absolutely not perfect. It can still get things wrong, make stuff up, or show biases from its training data. And it definitely lacks real-world common sense. So the key takeaway is to treat it like a really powerful assistant, not some all-knowing genius. Okay, so you've got this incredible new tool. Who starts using it first? The power users, right? And no surprise here, it was the developers. They immediately saw that this could be a whole new kind of programming assistant. See, developers already had tools like GitHub Copilot, which is fantastic for auto-completing code as you type, but they started using ChatGPT for something totally different. It wasn't just about speed. It was about brainstorming. It was about debugging really tricky logic and having a conversation about how to solve a problem, not just what to type next. And you don't have to take my word for it. This developer on Reddit they absolutely nailed it. Copilot is for speed, but ChatGPT is for exploring. You can have that back and forth. You can refine an idea. You can say, no, I don't like that. Try this instead. That conversational power, that was the secret sauce. And that right there, that brings us to the main event. OpenAI saw this happening. They realized people didn't just want to ask questions. They wanted to do things. And that was the massive light bulb moment that started this whole evolution from a simple tool into a full-blown platform. And if you look at the timeline, you can see this was absolutely a deliberate strategy. It didn't happen by accident. It began with simple plugins to get live data, then came custom GPTs, which they literally called the AI counterparts to smartphone apps. The GPT store made it official, and by 2025, with a proper developer toolkit and big-name partners, the vision was crystal clear. This right here, this is when things got really serious. Releasing a formal software development kit, or SDK, was like sending up a flare for developers everywhere. It signaled that this wasn't just an experiment anymore. An SDK is basically the official welcome mat and rulebook for developers, letting them build real applications for a platform. And in this case, the platform was the chat window itself. And this phrase really gets to the heart of their entire strategy. The ultimate goal is for ChatGPT to become the one single interface you use to control all your other software. So instead of clicking around in 10 different apps, you just ask. But here's the thing. For a command layer to actually work, the AI has to be incredibly smart and, more importantly, reliable, right? You can't have it mishearing you when you're about to book an expensive flight. And that's where the next generation of AI models makes all the difference. I mean, just look at this leap. For complex software engineering tasks, the accuracy jumped from just under 31% with GPT-4o to almost 75% with the next-gen model. That is a massive 144% improvement. That's not just an upgrade, that's a total game changer. It's the kind of power you need to reliably control other apps. And it's not just about writing code. We're seeing these huge performance jumps across the board. In mathematical reasoning, in understanding images, even in highly specialized fields like healthcare. This raw increase in intelligence is what makes the whole app platform idea possible. So, what's the motivation behind all this? Why build this platform? Well, how about 800 million reasons? That's the number of weekly active users. When you have an audience that big, the incentive for companies like Spotify or Zillow to build apps for your platform is just enormous. We could be looking at the biggest new way to distribute software since the original App Store. Okay, so what does all this tech and strategy actually mean for you? For the person using it every day? It means we are in the middle of a fundamental change in how we get things done with our devices. Conversation is replacing clicks. So here's a quick peek behind the curtain at how it works. You just type a simple request, plan a trip to Paris. ChatGPT figures out your intent is travel, and it calls the right app, like Expedia. Then, Expedia's computers do all the hard work, find the flights and hotels, and send the results right back into your chat as these slick, interactive cards. You never have to leave the conversation. And this is what it actually looks like in the real world. These are the kinds of simple phrases that are replacing dozens of clicks. Each one of these sentences triggers a really complex action in the background, but for you, it's as easy as just asking an assistant. This is the command layer in action. And that brings us to a really fascinating, kind of mind-bending final thought. If your main way of interacting with every app and service is through conversation, through your voice, what does that mean for the future of screens? What is the role of the screen in a world where the chat window has become the new operating system? That's something to think about.